Welcome back. You're watching The Buck Stops here. Time now for our big political and foreign policy debate on the program tonight. Sri Lanka's foreign minister is working the phones to New Delhi this evening, asking India to reconsider the decision. That's our big focus on the program today. This after, of course, the Prime Minister announced in Parliament that India, while awaiting the final text of that draft resolution against Lanka at the United Nations, is inclined to vote against Lanka. In other words, it's inclined to push Lanka to do much more to acknowledge the human rights violations in its crackdown against the LTTE. We're also hearing that the language of this resolution may be changed to include the condemnation of the LTTE. But on the program today, we're debating, can India afford to take sides? Is it a good idea for India to vote against Lanka at the UNHCR? Let's introduce our panel this evening. We're joined by Mr. V. Narayan Swamy. He's, of course, a Minister of State in the Prime Minister's office on this program, telling us last week that he would tell the Prime Minister in his personal capacity to support the resolution. With us in the studio, we have D. Raja. He's, of course, Member of Parliament and Senior Leader of the CPI. We also have the very outspoken Subramaniam Swamy, President of the Janata Party. We're joined by former Foreign Secretary Kaval Sibal. And from Chennai tonight, we're joined by Jnani Sankaran, Tamil writer and poet. Mr. Narayan Swamy, if I may start with you, all indications were that India would abstain. Now, the Prime Minister indicating that we are voting for the resolution against Sri Lanka. Does this decision stand despite the phone calls by the Sri Lankan Foreign Minister to Mr. Krishna this evening?
No, the Honorable Prime Minister took the decision to the government is inclined to vote in favor of the UN resolution which is moved by the United States of America on the human rights violation in Sri Lanka. This is a considered view that has been taken by the Honorable Prime Minister, because the India found that on 2009, when the massacre took place, and thereafter UN also constituted a committee to inquire into it, and Sri Lankan government also constituted a committee.
Yes.
And even the minimum which is required for the Sri Lankan government to fulfill the LLRC, which they failed to do. Therefore, India is bound to support the resolution moved by the United States of America.
And that's
therefore, there is no
sir?
dilation of our stand in that.
So it's categorical that
there is no dilation of...
I'm checking. Is there still
no
a chance?
Dilution of...
Is there still a chance of abstaining, or are you categorical that India will vote for the resolution?
No, in fact, I wanted to make it very clear that when the Honorable Prime Minister they told the views of the government inside the Parliament, it stands.
Okay. Can I take this to Subramanian Swamy? Last week, we were here and you said this would be a terrible idea. Since then, there has been some movement which you're aware of. The text of the draft resolution, we believe, is going to be changed to include condemnation of the LTTE. Does that change your opinion on which way India should vote?
Well, I certainly think that that's much better than the earlier resolution. But the fact is still, I think it's very important for India not to be supporting a resolution moved by the United States of America. This is our backyard, and we are related by blood to both the Sinhalese and the Tamils. And India should try to see that the Tamils get devolution of power. And for that, you've got to win the confidence of the establishment there. Now, let me just say one thing. Let me just say one thing. There's some hypocrisy in those who argue for this so-called genocide against the Tamils. Who did they support, these LTT parties, during the presidential election? They supported the commander-in-chief of the Sri Lankan army. And at the same time, they say that the atrocities were committed by the army. Now, how can both be reconciled? This hypocrisy should end. We should take a stand that what has happened, we will certainly like to see that the people there are punished on the basis of what the reports say. But the focus should be on devolution of power.
So you're saying it's really not our business to get into how the Sri Lankans implement their own law, in a sense?
No, I'm saying it's not our business to tell the Sri Lankans in what way they should prosecute the human rights excesses, just as we don't allow anybody else
to tell us
what to do in Manipur or Kashmir.
D. Raju, that seems reasonable. How would you rebut that? You know, and India so far had a conventional position to not get involved in country-specific resolutions. We did depart on that with Syria, but largely we have held that position.
There were occasions India took independent positions. It is not all the time India follows conventional position. Having said that, I must say, in fact, today I reiterated my position on the floor of the House in presence of Prime Minister. I asked the Prime Minister, ideally speaking, India should have moved the resolution.